my God. So, how did this even start? I think I know what happened. I was listening to Lord of the Rings on my own. I was just like, you know what? I've never read these. I never had a middle school teacher, Kyle, that was obsessed with them, that encouraged me to read them. So I just always wanted to understand what was going on, especially since I've been watching the Rings of Power. And Rings of Power.
Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power.
All right,
there's more than one ring.
Fuck. And as I'm listening to it, I think I am 6.5-ish hours into the audio, and I'm like, man, this is fucking boring. Like I just, but the nice thing is, what's really great is that the audiobook that I'm listening to has all of the musical cues, and it's different actors, and it's nice. Probably illegal on YouTube. A friend of mine cued me to this. There are a bunch of audiobooks just on YouTube. So like if you're like, oh, I want to listen to astrophysics for people in a hurry, that's on there. Like you can go on there and just listen to it. And so I was listening to this, and my kids were in the car with me when I was driving them to school, and they were like,
Dad, I thought you loved us. Why are you boring us?
No. They were like, well, what happens to Bilbo? Because that's where we were in the story. And I was like, okay, well, I won't listen to this without you guys in the car. So that's part of what's making this take so long. And they are sort of into it now. But I probably would have been done with the Fellowship of the Ring had it not been for them wanting
Fellowship
to hear
is the worst
what
one.
Happens next.
Yeah. Fellowship is the worst one. But to me, so the Lord of the Rings is something that I get into arguments with fanboys about this all the time. You know, with fellow authors who fucking love it, or with other people. And I get why. They love the world building. They love the fact that there's like a whole iceberg underneath that top of the iceberg.
Sure.
And I get that. But this is going to sound stupid. A storyteller Tolkien was not. He was a world builder.
Fighting words right there.
He was a world.
Jammer.
He's not interested in writing compelling stories as much as he is creating histories in a realistic type world.
Pretty sure all those stories are interesting stories. The
stories are interesting, but they're not.
Just said he's not interested in telling.
No. He's not interested in telling the stories. He's interested in the stories, but he's not interested in making them and telling them in a way that's compelling. He's not interested in freaking dramatic tension. Like, how long does fucking Frodo wait? Like 50 years before leaving?
Man, yeah, it was like. And it's interesting because in my head, I have the movie just like locked in my brain, right, as I'm watching this. And it was like, oh, that didn't seem like 50 years at all.
It seemed like
so to your
3
point,
days.
Yeah. And to your point about world building versus, and like, he has like 15 different Elvish dialects that he created, just the elves, right? And so he is, in terms of like backstory and world building, like that seems to be more his forte. But I am just
that's what he's most interested in.
Sounds
I mean,
like
everything
George
else, I feel like the story was almost just a byproduct of the world he created, in my opinion. And people are like, oh, the characters are so good. The characters are boring. They're boring. They don't do anything. They don't have arcs. They're just there. They're there to fulfill plot obligations in order to make this history work. It's interesting. I respect it. I just don't want to read it or listen to it. The most compelling part of the entire trilogy for me was about 90 pages. No, God, no. 90 pages into the Two Towers when the Uruk-hai are arguing with the orcs. That is the height of dramatic tension and conflict in the entire trilogy, and it's so interesting.
You know what's funny? The way you describe it always reminds me of one of the reasons why I say conspiracy theories exist is because the real world is so boring that you reach out for anything and everything that would make it a little less boring. It seems like, at least the way Jammer's putting it, Tolkien created a fantastical world filled with the human condition, which is the reality that life is pretty freaking bland and boring, and and it repeats itself
I don't think
constantly.
He set out to do that, though. I don't think he set out.
No, I'm not saying he set out to do that, but it is kind of interesting how like you said, despite it being this fantastical world with some magic and these weird creatures and stuff like dragons and elves that can live a long time, the relative blandness of it, the relative just it's human, it's history, that is an interesting point of view. I find it kind of curious.
That again,
no, I'm not saying that he did it on purpose. I'm saying even if it's just the result of how it was done with an intention or not, is still kind of interesting how that plays out, that you can have this super fantastical world and still have it feel mundane, boring.
And I do want to respect the legacy.
Mm-hmm.
The fantasy wasn't what it is now before he did Lord of the Rings. That's fantastic, and we're still living in its shadow.
Yeah.
We're still finding ways to get outside of its shadow. It's still failing, and it's influenced it for decades. Like, I respect what it's done. It's just that the way it's told, the fact that it's not character driven, the fact that there really isn't dramatic tension, it's just kind of plot happening. Not a fan of that. It's not compelling narrative for me.
Do me a favor real quick, Nick, say something.
Well, can you hear me?
Yeah, Jonesy, talk again real quick.
Yo.
Jammer, you are a bit quiet. I noticed you're about 10 or so decibels lower than everyone else.
Decibles.
How about now? Test 1 2. Test 1 2 3 4. How about now? Better?
Can you give me a little more?
Test 1 2 1 2 3 4.
That's better. Yeah.
All right.
To wrap up that other conversation with one sentence. Then again, a famous billionaire, AJ Serna, is not. It's a throwback to the exact sentence he said about Tolkien.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it came too late because it's the exact same wording you said about Tolkien. You said Tolkien, a storyteller, is not, or like something like that.
Oh, gotcha.
I've been trying to get in a single fucking word for like 45 minutes, so you just keep going on and on about Lord of the Rings. Anyway, let's start the show.
Well, you were trying to divert it from Lord of the Rings. I was trying to actually finish up the conversation.
I was just trying to make that joke. Maybe we could have stopped talking about it 5 minutes earlier, too.
We wanted to talk about it. I was intrigued.
Yeah, Nick wanted to transition, so I was about to do a funny transition, but then
the last thing I was going to say is this: like, as it is fascinating, there are times that I listen to the book and I'm like, I am amazed that you all were able to pull out the Fellowship of the Ring out of this book, because that is a film.
Just wait till you get the Council of Elrond.
Really enjoy. Oh fuck! Don't do that. I genuinely enjoy that film, like even the extended edition of all of the movies, and I'm just like,
it's because Peter Jackson took the essence of them, took the essence of the characters, streamlined them, gave them narrative arc and drive, and he took out all the boring parts and made it dramatically tense. That's what he did.
Why did I bring it back up?
I'll give this
not boring parts, relevant parts. Here's
an example, but it's not even just relevant parts, right? So think about them crossing the river, right? Do you remember that scene in the book? Like, there's a scene in the.
I don't remember.
I
haven't read the book since high school, so I don't remember.
In the movie, Frodo looks down the road and he's like, "What's down the road?" And he gets kind of freaked out, and then the rider in black is like standing on the tree above them, and he's like sniffing for them. You remember that?
I don't remember.
And what? That's a great scene. Like, as he's sniffing,
it's been
like he's
20
holding
years,
on.
Bro.
Okay, listen. Yeah, but this is a great scene. He's like holding onto the tree bark, and then
probably the most famous shot
coming out of the tree.
No, he's talking the book.
Are like,
no, that scene's in the movie.
It's in the movie.
It's probably one of the most iconic shots from the franchise.
Yeah, he's like, get off the road, quick.
Yeah. And the next scene where they start running from the rider in black and like have to get on the ferry to get across the river, and like none of that is in the actual book, really. They're like, I think he's on the other shore, but that whole scene is played way more dramatically in the movie, and I'm like, oh, this is yeah, they really did find a way to tie all of that and just make it much more. They dramatized it way more in the film.
Well, I mean, like, you know, even in the Fellowship, like when they're in the mines, I think I remember this being pointed out in the special features as well. Like, there's like a line where it's like, and they went over the bridge, and that's like a whole scene. It's like a sentence. Versus
no
a scene.
Balrog at all.
No, there was a Balrog, but it was a different part.
Okay, got it. Yeah, no.
Anyways, enough. We're boring Nick. Nick is ready to wrap it up. We're getting from producer Kyle here.
Wrap it up, B. Hello, and welcome to Breaking Geek Radio, the podcast, the premier flagship and international podcast of Alarm Online, where we were boring the hell out of Nick because I was bored with although I'm pretty entertained by the show.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna be bored during the Star Trek conversation, so this is like a little preemptive
Man,
payback.
You're on drugs. I don't know what to tell you about that.
No, I didn't say it was
Trek.
bad. I don't watch it.
At least we'll be talking about something recent and not like a novel, even a book series from like a movie series from like 20 years ago. Jesus Christ.
What? Yeah. So I guess the thing is, I think it's relevant because the only reason I started listening to it, and I'm curious how many people have had this experience now. Now there's this like incredibly popular show that there are people starting to read or listen to The Fellowship of the Ring or The Hobbit because of it.
I started watching the movie, especially since Jammer wanted me to. And I watched the extended.
You've never seen the movie?
No,
I've never seen the extended.
And I was bored out of my fucking mind. Like, the extended cut is so bad of Fellowship. It does take him like a whole hour to get out of the Shire.
You're
I'm
on
not even out of the
fucking
Shire.
drugs.
Nick's fired. Fired
Nick,
Nick.
Jesus.
I don't like those anymore.
What? Yeah, well, he hadn't seen those since you saw the theatrical cut in high school in theaters, and that was it.
I loved them in my early 20s also.
Oh,
It's the first time I've seen the extended cuts.
I thought you were saying you hadn't seen them at all. I was like,
no. I've seen them.
All
If I hadn't seen them, it'd probably be exciting extended cuts.
Yeah, I'm
you
curious
know what's gonna
how many
happen.
people-
You're like, oh, more footage.
I remember when the Fellowship of the Ring first came out, and I bought the Fellowship of the Ring to try to read the book, and I think I got like 10 pages. And I was like, nope.
That's funny.
Nope.
I definitely like this. I'm a huge hypocrite here. So when I read the books in like shitty paperback version back in high school, and then when I was in college, I was like, I'm gonna try to read them again. Maybe I'll like them again. And I bought the shitty film edition. Here, actually, I have it. Hold on a second.
Oh, is it the one with
We're back
with
to
Frodo on the front
sorry.
with the
No, this one.
That's
This one, this
okay.
omnibus with the ring.
yeah.
This is an embarrassment to my book collection. So even though I don't like the books, I still want to revisit them at some point, and I want to get a better edition than this one.
Why?
If you don't like it, just read
Because
that
I'm gonna read it again. I'm gonna try it again, Jonesy. It's been a while. Maybe
It's
my
not going to
tastes
be
have
better.
changed.
It won't be better.
Maybe
they won't have changed.
Maybe I'll get the Andy Serkis read book, and read that or listen to that.
No, I'm gonna send you. I'm
sisters-
gonna send you the one that I have. I'm
Okay.
gonna see the one that I'm listening to. You'll like it better.
Now this is
You won't like the story better.
This is pretty funny, Jammer, talking about going through something potentially painful, like a masochist of sorts, considering what you guys are going to be talking about later on.
Like I wanted
Pleasure is
pleasure.
pain.
All they
Pleasure
gave you
is
was pain.
You crushed it, Kyle. And hopefully we're off Lord of the Rings.
This week's Breaking Geek Radio, the podcast, Kyle is pushing us to talk about the actual fucking subject of the show. We're going to, as a good producer would, right? Like that's the deal. So I'm Brandon Jones. I'm your host, and I am here with Nick Dahl and Joseph Jammer Medina. Gents, what's going on?
Yo.
What up?
Yo. We have a show where we are going to have a conversation about Hellraiser, the 2022 version. It is the latest film reboot from Hulu. I guess that's their thing now, right? That's their thing. Unearthing.
Oh yeah, they
old
recently had
films
Prey,
and-
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
To fantastic results, which this was not. More on that later. Before we get to Hellraiser, we've got a little bit of news. I was trying to find a balance, right? Like, how many stories do we do? How many stories do we do? Do we make Jammer happy? Do we make me happy? Do we make Nick happy? I don't know. Just somebody let me know whether or not I struck a balance.
Is this going to be the Fox News of podcasts where it's fair and balanced?
It's going to be the Fox News of podcasts where we don't talk about the thing that's actually important. So we got lots and lots of Star Trek news this week. For me, the thing that was important between we got a trailer for Discovery, we got a story about a comic book series that's going to be starring Worf, and it takes place prior to Star Trek Nemesis. It's with him on the Defiant, and we got a couple other things. The exciting thing, at least to me, was the Picard trailer that we got out of this. And I will say this. I feel like we were talking about hypocrites earlier. I feel like not a huge fuck. I feel like a goddamn fool. As someone who watched the first 2 seasons of Picard and thought, meh, I saw this trailer and went, yeah. And I was like, this is what this fucking show should have been like from the goddamn beginning. This to me was probably the most exciting Star Trek trailer I've seen, period. And some of the highlights for me were we got to see the Enterprise F, which is fucking fantastic, right? As somebody who has had a hard on for the Enterprise E since 1996's Star Trek First Contact, seeing this thing in the flesh was just like fucking fantastic. We got to see Old Man Lor. So Brent Spiner's coming back and he's going to be Old Man Lor, which if they actually do it right will be fantastic to see what's his take on his brother's death. Spoiler for first season of Picard. And we get to see Worf, how he has changed over the years. And we get a bunch of other tidbits in this trailer. And we also get to see Amanda Plummer.
It's Plummer. She is a Christopher Plummer's daughter.
Is she? I didn't know that. That's awesome.
And he played a Klingon, but I assume their characters are not related whatsoever.
You never know. Could be like some
Christopher
weird
Plummer was in Star
thing.
Trek?
Yeah, he was one of the original movies. He was a Klingon. Yeah.
So he was oh God, what was his name? He was the one that liked to quote Shakespeare.
By the way, in a random side story, my wife has always had a mad hard on for Christopher Plummer ever since The Sound of Music when she was a kid. She would
he's pretty handsome.
If he had seriously, if before he died recently, I think he died last year or this year, he had come and hit on Kirsten, she would have fucking left me in an instant. Left me instantly.
That's good to know.
It's weird.
Even Old Man Plummer.
Especially Old Man Plummer, right?
Yep, definitely Old Man Plummer.
That reminds me of that story you told us. You told us one time this guy passed you on the street, and I think he was like Australian or something like that. And
no. He didn't pass me on the street. We were hanging out with him because he was seeing our friend, and we were just walking along, talking about something random. Out of nowhere, unprompted, just said, "You're punching."
Punching,
like, what? What are you talking about? So yeah, it's a compliment.
Good,
I'll take it.
Good stuff. It's good stuff. It is a compliment. Yeah, I'm excited for this trailer. Some of the things that we didn't get to see, Mika Burton is going to be in this and actually playing LeVar Burton's daughter in this. So she's going to be one of the LaForge daughters.
I thought she was in the trailer. I thought she was one of the people.
So there are 2. So there are 2 LaForge daughters in the show. She, to the best of my knowledge, was not pictured because I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Like I am so disgusted with myself for how excited I am.
Shame on you
for this. I'm
3 times.
Shame on me. Yeah. Thinking about Game of Thrones. Fucking shame, right? So Nick, as the only other person on this podcast that gives any fucks about Star Trek, what did you think?
Oh my God, I agree with you as far as like best Star Trek trailer ever. Like especially you left out the best part. Moriarty. Moriarty.
Oh, Moriarty. Yeah.
Not just a favorite Star Trek villain, obviously a favorite villain overall. Though, of course, this is the Trek version. Was a history with Picard. But this is a whole it's so good that I can't even remember anything that happened in the Discovery trailer. Like Discovery trailer was like, sweet, more Discovery, book's gonna be in it some way. And then I saw this trailer and I was like, they're bringing back almost like all these villains like Space Seed style, or it's like we've only seen in the TV show. And then like I feel like reaching back and grabbing Moriarty is like reaching back and grabbing Khan for a film. It's like, you never thought you'd see what happened to this character, did you? Same with even Lore. I feel like they're doing a Wrath of Khan like ×3 with like, hey, here are all these guys you never thought about, and they're all back. I do have a question.
Do you think there's
so Lor does age or something? Because that's what threw me off. I'm like, that's the worst makeup job ever. Or
I think he probably did, and I think the excuse will be that he probably went somewhere and got human skin. Who knows why? Because he's tried to destroy humanity so many times. Yeah. It seems weird to me. But I'm fairly certain they'll have some good story rationale as to why.
Or a line.
I gotta wonder, like, as I watch this stuff, what actors are like old actor, like getting in shape, dieting, just waiting for that fucking phone to ring. Like, I know somebody's gonna call, right? There's some franchise that they were in
Picard
long
season
ago,
1 just announced, and they're like, oh, good.
I know it's me. Like, what franchises are like there's just somebody trying to get in shape for so they can come back for?
I bet like every Star Trek actor who's living, especially it's like, okay, they're gonna do like who knows what next.
Who knows?
But
who knows?
I still want
The
Rio
other thing
show.
I did not talk about and bring up, this is kind of interesting. So the trailer starts out the final voyage of this crew, right? And Jonathan Frakes tweaks out, maybe not final. And I was like, wait, what? And I don't know what he's teasing, but as someone who has been intimately involved in Star Trek, I think probably more so behind the scenes than anybody else that's currently involved in Star Trek at all. Yeah, so he directs a lot. He's been on the set of Discovery directing a bunch of stuff. The movie that I think was probably one of the best, First Contact, he directed that one. So I'm curious, Nick, what did you think that meant? Like, is that something that you would want to see this crew come back? And what do you think he's teasing, if anything?
I would love if he was teasing a show I want to see, which would just be called Star Trek Riker. I would watch the hell out of Riker's adventures after, let's say, Picard dies or something. I don't see Picard retiring quietly into the night. He's like Batman in Batman Rises. He should have fucking died. Like, there's a character. We were discussing Mission Impossible, the ending at one point. And it's like, it's one of those shows where like, he's like, okay, I retire at the last moment. It's like, dun, dun. And he's like, pulls his gun out and he's like, one last time, baby. One last time. And even if they don't make another one. Picard always strikes me that way where unless he dies, he's going to be like, just a little hint at the end that maybe there would be a season 4. But I think he's referring to something other than, I don't think he's referring to like a Picard season 4, but just more adventures, probably maybe with more of these characters.
Okay.
Even Worf. Like, I love that part in the trailer. Actually reminds me of, not a great thing to remind you of, even though I love it, the A-Team movie. B.A. Baracus is like, I found God. Like, I don't punch people anymore. And that felt like the same moment, especially when Riker's like, we're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. I loved it. It was great. It was
so much fun.
I'm looking forward to this. Jammer, did you actually watch the trailer at all?
I did watch the trailer. I was actually surprised.
Nothing for you.
No. I don't have Paramount Plus, Jonesy. How many times do I have to tell you? I have no desire to get Paramount Plus to get another streaming service.
Like a normal person. Just steal it.
I guarantee you. Do you want me to give me your credentials? If you give me your credentials,
I can give you mine.
Don't break the law, everyone. Jonesy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's saying allegedly.
He's like,
allegedly.
I'm in Korea. It doesn't fucking matter. They have no jurisdiction over here.
Sure.
No, but
give me that jurisdiction crap and cram it up your ass.
Here's the thing. I know for a fact if I was given Paramount Plus, that would dominate our household because Kirsten is a huge Star Trek fan. She loves it.
Nice.
And the only reason I don't want to pay for another streaming service.
Which ones do you have?
Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Peacock. To be fair, I don't pay for Peacock, so that doesn't.
I was gonna say get rid of Peacock.
Literally, the only reason I have Peacock is to like I just watched Parks and Rec and Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Isn't Brooklyn Nine-Nine on Hulu?
Apple TV Plus? No, not anymore.
Oh,
wow. Apple TV Plus. Is that it?
I love the one he doesn't have
Amazon
is like the one his wife wants the most. And it's like, no,
honey, she doesn't want it the most. She doesn't want it
Star Trek in this house.
She would only get it for Star Trek. That's the thing.
Which is like
we would only
7 shows.
It's too much. It's too much Star Trek. It's too much content.
Yeah, I mean, but only 2 of them that you like desperately need to watch.
So which are those?
I think Lower Decks
Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds. Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Everything else is fine.
We watched when we were in Scotland. We watched, I just realized we have a VPN, so we could probably just watch it on Netflix, like Discovery.
There you go. But it sucks
we'll
because I don't think Strange New Worlds has that same deal.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I have to get Paramount Plus then. But we watched the first season, like 9 episodes, or I don't know how long it is, but like we watched most of season 1 of Discovery, and I liked it. And she loved it. We just didn't have back then. It was, what was it called back then? CBS All Access.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't.
I think if she loved the first season of Discovery, then she would love everything that they have shut out so far.
Once again, guaranteed. But she's also, so this is a conflict. I'm not a binger. I'm not sure if you've noticed. I am not a binger. She is a binger. She is very much a binger. She will literally just watch. She goes through seasons and seasons of old mystery TV shows just while she's doing other things and comprehending at the same time. Yeah, it's weird. It's mutant. She's basically an X-Man. But me, if we get Paramount Plus, this would be nonstop Star Trek, and I don't know if I want to deal with nonstop Star Trek.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Yeah, you do. I will say this. I think Strange New Worlds is probably the best first season of almost any sci-fi show I've seen in a very long time. Flat out. Here, I'll put it to you another way. Tanya, I was like, hey, you need to watch Strange New Worlds. She's like, I don't know. You know how she is, right? I was like, hey, come on, watch. She's, I don't know. I think it was maybe a third of the way, maybe halfway through the season. She was like, why the fuck would you ask me to watch something that's not finished yet? Because this is she loves it. She was mad because it was.
By the way, we got Tanya to watch Ted Lasso last week when she came over.
What'd you think?
She fucking loved it. She's done with it. She finished it instantly.
Yes.
It's done.
But
she sent us a text when she got back. When she got back to us, she's like, "What the fuck with Roy Kent hugging Jamie? What's that all about?"
So good. Such a good show. You guys ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol is back. We got a teaser trailer for the show. I think I added this to the list mostly for me because with all of the bullshit that's happening at Warner Discovery, between this and Titans, I was like, is it coming back? I don't know. And getting to see the trailer and seeing that this was actually going to,
it was already done.
Season.
Or
say that again, slower.
Oh.
It was already done, but it wasn't like Batgirl in that it wasn't something that people hadn't been exposed to. I think there's a difference between not releasing a full season of TV versus not releasing a 2-hour movie.
Is there?
Yeah.
I think before that happened, you wouldn't have said that.
Before that happened,
Before they canceled a $90 million movie, you would not have said they would cancel a completed movie.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's true. This could have been another first. Boom! Yeah. Served.
Yeah, I just think that they have just blown up what is possible with that shit. So
I just love hearing all the not drama, like the things behind the scene. What's like Zaslav is just fattening this pig so he could sell it off. That's basically what the thing is I've been hearing. He's just like, he's cutting all of the fat. He's putting up all the short-term drivers of views and then just saying bye, selling it off to, I forget who.
Well, it's fun. And that's what I was just thinking. I think was it NBC or was it Comcast? There was a brief, they might, and then they came out of it is not for sale. I remember that statement. I was like, I don't believe you.
Yet.
Yeah.
He hasn't trimmed the fat enough yet. He's still working on it. He's still carving it up.
Yeah, that was very
my
much
analogy
like
fell
the J.J.
apart because I
Abrams.
went
This
from
isn't
fattening a
Khan.
pig to carving it, but whatever.
This isn't Khan. I'm pretty sure that's Khan. This isn't Khan. Okay.
Nah, you guys are wrong. Oops,
You're
I won't lie to you again.
Oops.
I'll just be anonymous next time.
My bad. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about Doom Patrol coming back, getting to see the entire cast. For me, I think one of the highlights of the last season was Gomez. What's Gomez's first name? My brain is leaving me. But Madame Rouge from the last season, she also played.
Oh, Selena Gomez. Wait, no, that's the.
Is it Selena?
Different Gomez.
No, yeah, no, she played.
That's a different Gomez.
She was in a really good season or a couple of seasons of Doctor Who, and I thought she was really good. They added her to the cast, so she's going to be coming back this season. If you haven't seen this trailer, it opens up and it is fucking hilarious because it's a bunch of assholes singing and dancing.
It threw me off completely, having not watched any Doom Patrol.
So
I was like, what?
Have you seen it all? Oh, wow.
I've never seen it. So watching this trailer,
I've only watched the first episode, and I remember being shocked by the episode because all the trailers I'd seen is like campy, goofy shit, but it's like there's some actual emotional depth to it that I was not expecting.
And I haven't seen that, but it looks like Legends of Tomorrow with the budget. Just the wacky, like, this is just wacky.
No, it is. So
it's kind of like a gothic type show in a way. It has kind of like
Umbrella Academy too.
No, it's way more entertaining than Umbrella Academy. I was bored by Umbrella Academy. Hated Umbrella Academy. Fuck Umbrella Academy.
Wow.
I don't care. Actually, I'm not really that passionate about it. I was just
like,
it was just a bit.
Yeah, I didn't know.
That was just a bit.
To Jammer's point, the thing that I love about Doom Patrol, like the superheroing is secondary, and this is more about the characters really just trying to survive, right? Like all of them have trauma, all of them have had bad things that have happened to them in their lives, and this is really about them connecting with themselves and connecting with each other and trying to find a way to survive in life. And then they also happen to save the world. And I really love it for that reason. And it's interesting because Young Justice has tried to do that in its last season. I couldn't get through it because they messed up the mix, right? The mix wasn't as good.
Titans or Young Justice? Did you mean Young Justice?
I did. The cartoon, the animated series. They just their level of superheroing to human drama was just off, and I think it's partly because that isn't what that show has always been. They just jammed too much of it in there, but Doom Patrol has always been that, and this. I'm incredibly happy it's coming back. So
maybe for another season.
Everybody's favorite.
Do you think another season? Maybe. Do you think it's gonna?
I don't want to push my luck. I don't want to push.
Isn't the trailer for even part one of the season or something? Isn't that called like the trailer for season 4, part 1? Or am I imagining?
Did they? I don't. If they did, I missed that.
I might be. It's either way.
I often ignore the
trailer for.
I often ignore the text at the end of trailers. To be perfectly honest.
I thought it was someone else
too.
on a website mentioned it, but I could have fucked that.
You might be right, Nick. You don't back up. Back it up confidently.
I don't know for sure. If I knew for sure, I'd be confident.
Given that you guys have only watched either the first episode or a little bit of it, I highly recommend Doom Patrol. I think it's a great show. I think it's very funny. It's got a lot of heart.
Star Trek.
You know who Brendan Fraser is, Nick. Like that's your into stuff. Like you would like this. He's prominently featured in this. Yeah, so he's not the metal guy. Physical actor, but he is the voice. I was
going to ask that based on the trailer I saw, because it looks like he could. Well, old Brendan Fraser could fit into that. That's not fat shaming, because I thought you looked really bad in his new movie, and they're like, "Oh, that's a fat suit," and I was like,
which people are really upset about.
I just love how you were saying this. I'm not fat shaming, but thank God he's not that fat guy in the movie.
Well, I was a little concerned. But yeah, he is too big to fit inside that. I don't know the name of the character. I'll call him the Tin Man suit. I was watching it. I'm like, okay, I could see Brendan Fraser doing that, but yeah, it looks interesting. I would watch it.
It's funny to me thinking about the Brendan Fraser roller coaster ride of, he's out in the wilderness. He comes back. He's in a role. He gets a standing ovation, and then people are like, "You wore a fat suit, boo!" Like it's just like that was
people just love to build people up and tear them down.
Fucking hurt.
Why are they so upset about it? Just because it's not Marvel, so it's okay to wear a fat suit.
Yeah, they don't. People.
Did anyone care when
it
Thor
is the idea of who can play what, right? I do remember I was watching This Is Us, and this character Toby, he wore a fat suit. And people are like, oh, terrible to wear a fat suit. I guess.
Let's look at McCarthy can't play every role.
Jesus Christ, Kyle, just stuff that in your mouth. Why don't you?
Crying.
He's doing the jammer. He's eating. His sound's at least off.
I feel bad.
Yeah,
he's not shown on the podcast, so no one else could have seen him just deep throat that slider.
Sausage biscuit, even better.
Yeah, I can tell it was a sausage
because it's got the word sausage in it, and we're talking about.
I was going to say sausage. That doesn't make it better.
Yeah,
it doesn't make it better.
Absolutely.
I mean, it sounds good.
It's way better.
Sausage biscuit.
Yeah.
I was hungry, guys. Screw.
No, it looked good. It looked tasty.
It was delicious.
I'm just jealous.
Just do what he did. Be like, wife, bring me sausage biscuit. Because I saw his wife just stop by with his breakfast.
Damn right. No, I'm joking.
Not even breakfast.
I asked her very nicely.
Yeah. 11Z's. It's 11Z's based on his time zone.
It's true. It really is.
Yeah, it would be
11Z's.
Happy 11Z's. We have fun. We have fun here at Breaking Geek Radio, the podcast.
We do.
What's the next story?
What's the next story? So we have lots and lots of MCU. We'll see what's going on. I think KEVIN is having some issues, right? So, sorry, that's a spoiler for anybody that hasn't seen She-Hulk. So, last week we talked about the issue. Was it last week or was it 2 weeks ago? I don't remember. It
was last week because we're talking about Blade being delayed.
All right.
Or not delayed, just losing a director and stuff. Yeah.
And the
now it's been delayed.
Script. That's gross.
Right. Gross. So we talked about the fact that the director from Blade was leaving the film, and part of it was the shifting production schedule. Mahershala Ali is upset because it is a crap script with 2 lackluster fight scenes, and then the film gets delayed, right? It gets delayed significantly, in fact, and we're like, oh, what does this mean? What's going to happen? And I think Kyle said in Discord, like, I wonder if they're just going to cancel it. And then almost immediately they were like, we are pushing back all of these films. And so we've got a list. We've got a list of films, 4 films, right? So we've got, what just happened? I had a thing. I had a whole list of films. There we go.
Deadpool.
Yeah, so Deadpool's getting delayed. I did maybe. Deadpool's getting delayed. Fantastic Four is getting delayed. Blade is getting delayed, and there's one more that's getting delayed.
Secret Wars.
Secret Wars is getting delayed. And so the shifting dates, we've got Blade moving from 3 November 2023 to 6 September 2024. Deadpool is moving from September 6, 2023 to November of 2024. Fantastic Four is moving from November of 2024 to February of 2025. That one's not quite as bad. Secret Wars is moving from 7 November 2025 to May of 2026.
So if I have my dates right, it feels like the first 2 were literally pushed because of Blade. Like, weren't they falling into each other's new slots? And then
they're
Secret
all filling
Wars
in each other's slots.
Secret Wars is probably just smarter, where it's like, should we really release our 2 biggest franchises twice in the same year? Because even like Infinity War and Endgame weren't the same year, you know.
Yeah,
that's I think because at first you'd be like, there's some kind of new structuring, because Marvel's done this before, not to this extent. Even pre-COVID, just like you see them shuffle stuff where they're like, Inhumans isn't a movie now, it's going to be a hit ABC series that we're going to release at IMAX, so because it looks so great. So
it's not a good look. This is on par with DC earlier this year, saying like, all these movies are coming out this year, and then the next week delaying all of them. Yeah. This is basically what happened here, where Deadpool 3 was just like September 6th, and then like November 3rd. But I mean, it's clearly a situation where it's a cascading effect. One gets pushed, so they all have to get pushed. And whether or not this has to do with their interconnectedness or just, making sure that they're filling in specific slots in the release schedule, who knows? But I mean, it's very clear that the reason for this is Blade. I don't know if there's any indication that the other movies are facing any similar troubles at this point. I mean, I guess it's kind of early, but Blade is clearly the culprit.
And it gives them more time to make better movies.
Yeah, and I say do this rather than releasing
Yeah,
shitty
why
movies.
not?
So like I get it. It's just frustrating that they've had a million years to work on Blade. And they're like on year 999,999 in 6 months. They're like, oh shit, we should get started on that.
Yeah. Yeah, this definitely feels like that project that you got assigned in school and you wait until the last week to start working on. Because so this project got, again, we talked about this before. This got announced at Comic-Con in 2019. And this is just, it's pretty bad.
It sucks.
Kyle is asking a question in the chat about whether or not this film could be turned into a series. Could it go the opposite route as Armor Wars? Here's what I would say to that, and it's kind of funny. So you have two Oscar-winning actors portraying the roles. I don't know that Mahershala Ali would be like, yeah, I'll do a TV series. That's not what he's initially. He did, but I think it is different when they come to you and they're like, hey, do you want to star in this film? And it's pitched that way. And they're like, you know what about a TV show? And it seems like the reason it's becoming a TV show is not because that's a better way to tell the story. It's because you fucked up.
Especially if there's only 90-page script.
And it's not easier.
Turn it into 6 hours.
It's not easier to make a TV show. It's just different. So I don't know if it's just like easier to turn into it.
Like Blade, he's a character with a big screen history already. It's not like it's like no,
I mean, so is
it's
Daredevil.
Hawkeye. Yeah, but like Hawkeye's like an Avenger. He's never like Hawkeye the movie. So it was like we'll throw Hawkeye on TV, not in a bad way. They're like we have a better story to tell in 6 hours then.
So the argument that I would make against that is he has ebbed and flowed, right? So there was the 3 movies, and then there was a very short-lived TV show.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah. So short-lived.
It is forgettable.
Yeah. Maybe they want to avoid that, or at least Mahershala Ali.
Sticky Fingers. Nah. What's Sticky Fingers' last name? Is it Sticky Fingers Johnson? Yeah, I was like, what is this? Why are we watching this? Why'd they make this?
I never watched it. If you had asked me, hey, has it been a Blade TV show? I'd been like, no.
Fuck no. What are you talking about?
Oh wait, don't even remember.
No, it's desperate for some Blade content. So yeah,
again, even with Blade though, it makes sense that it's like, yeah, rather than pulling a Fast 10 and just grabbing a new director without changing anything, the Marvel's like, yeah, we got a problem. We need to punch up the script, take our time with that, get a new director. Well, I think that shows promise rather than doing the Fast 10 thing where it's like, find an actor quick. We're 2 weeks away from production.
I'm of two minds about that. I'm of two minds about that because what it tells me is the state that Blade was in. The amount of time they went from, was it Webb? Who's directing Fantastic Four?
Oh,
Shackman
now.
Matt
Shackman.
Who was the first one?
Webb.
No,
Watts.
There it is.
John
Webb did amazing.
The other Spider-Man director.
The other W one. So they went from Watts to Shackman in 5 months. So that happened. I think he dropped out of the project in April. They had a new director by September. That tells you how bad Blade is. That they're like, oh, we need to push this way back. So that's interesting.
And I think they also understand the gravity of this movie. They're like, this is a movie that means a lot to a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people, this was like their first comic book movie before they even realized that comic book movies were a thing. And it's a big deal. Like, this is not they don't want to fuck it up.
It's also one of the most badass vampire films there ever was. I mean, it's an amazing vampire flick.
I love in some of the Facebook groups I follow, they talk about the delay, and one of the comments was, nobody asked for this. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Everybody asked for a Blade movie.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Everybody was asking.
Everyone's probably been asking for 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so the first 2 Blade movies to me are just like, if you're listening and not watching, I'm putting my hand above my head. Like, they're up here. I fucking love them.
Yeah, so I remember seeing Blade 2 in theaters. That was an experience.
I wish I could bring weapons to South Korea because I actually have the Sword of the Daywalker. Like, that was one of my first and probably like only biggest movie merch memorabilia type things. It's like 36 inches of surgical stainless steel. It's like a huge fucking. Actually, it's bigger than 36 inches. It's a big ass sword.
That's what you say a lot.
It is. I do have.
I was looking for a joke. Like, too early. Jammer got there.
Too soon. So yeah, that's how serious this movie is to me, at least.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think it's the right move in the end. Like I said, rather than doing a Fast 10, which is just my only example because it's so recent. Where The Rock's like,
it wouldn't
no,
shock
we
me
ain't
if he left the
stopping.
project.
Not The Rock. Yeah.
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
We already heard his voice. Like, that's obvious. No, I'm kidding. It was a joke. It was a joke.
Okay.
Marvel's not afraid to recast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where. Oh, sorry. I was going to say that's kind of where the idea of a series came into mind, because the way some reports make it seem, Mr. Ali is very unhappy, allegedly. So I wondered if he would walk, and if he does, that's kind of where I think it might kind of go the opposite way, which if it wasn't, if it didn't have the prestige already attached to it as a film, the way it was released, if this was back before Comic-Con 2019, I would have actually supported the idea of a series. And then, of course, we got what we've gotten in Phase 4, and I think I'd be like, now go back to movie.
Well, I mean, he plays, out of all the characters we've seen, he plays the most with the show characters, like Moon Knight and Daredevil. So it wouldn't even be that much of a stretch to be like, oh, you live in, was it Midnight Suns? That the group or something that they all belong to sometimes? Yeah, it's like you live in there. We're going to do the Midnight Suns world. Like we did Defenders, only hopefully better. Y'all get your own single series, and then we do that. Daredevil gets 2 single series. Bringing
Alejandra Jones as the Ghost Rider, but the only difference is she cannot have a crotch rocket. I'm sorry, no crotch rockets for the Ghost Rider. None.
Really?
No.
You sound so old. You're like Chopper or nothing.
Yeah.
Chopper
I don't know if I agree with
that. Chopper.
I don't agree with that. I hear what you're saying. Like, I understand why you're saying that, but
by the way,
I will say this.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with Ghost Rider, so I typed in Alejandro Jones, and all that shows up are pictures of Alex Jones.
Oh God. I will say this:
$1 billion
on a chopper.
Sorry,
a crotch rocket bike is still better than a car, and that's nothing against Robbie Reyes' character. It's just the car. Ghost Rider's supposed to be on a steed, and that's either a horse or a bike. Just saying.
I can get down with that.
Horse one, demon horse. Give it to me, Marvel.
Yeah, flaming horse. Yeah. You guys ready to move on?
Yeah.
Yes.
What else we got?
Wait.
All right.
I'll make up for that Lord of the Rings time.
Yep. Yep. I just want to make sure I was thinking about the top. I was like, are there any implications that we haven't discussed there?
I mean, so there are possibly.
Does Marvel need to chill the fuck out? That's the question. Do they need to mellow out and like release less, or get like a secondary Feige?
So that's what I was alluding to when I said that is the KEVIN all fucked up, and it really is. So yeah, Kyle, that is one aspect of it. Announced less.
And you get all of us bitching. They haven't announced anything. Nothing's happening. What's going on?
You could still announce less, and they would eventually.
And also the thing is, they release so much each year. They release like how many shows have they released this year? 4, like 4 and 4. 4 shows, 4 movies. That's too much.
Yeah.
Just release less. It's not even about announcing. It's about releasing less. Release 2 movies and 2 shows. 3 movies and 2 shows. Anything is better than the frequency we have here now.
So part of the problem is they have a streaming platform that they have to make content for, right? The mouse is like, feed me fucking content.
I mean, well, let's see. What are the movies they had this year? They had
it's only Doctor Strange and Thor: Love and Thunder. I thought
Thor: Love and Thunder,
and then Wakanda Forever. So that's the 3 you asked for. Yeah.
Oh no,
when did Spider-Man come out? Was that before?
That was
December. That was last year.
That was December.
Okay.
I think I could have sworn there was 4. I think there was originally
Morbius.
4. Obviously.
It's Morbin time. How could you forget Morbin time?
Yeah.
It was just a meme. I never saw the movie, so I eventually forgot it. Like all memes.
You didn't miss much. You missed very little.
You missed Matt Smith. He was killing it.
He was
House
fine.
of the Dragon. He's Matt Smith ended up doing his little dance. This is
Make a
entertaining.
little love, getting down tonight.
I do think that you kind of already, I think the biggest implication you already talked about, you already kind of hand waved, because for you, Jammer, it was because of Blade, everything else is shifting. There was the possibility of would anything need to be shuffled based on, spoilers, or based on like the Spider-Man, Doctor Strange effect. But
they're so far out, it's pretty easy to rewrite the other scripts.
Yeah.
Because like Blade is still pretty far out.
It's easy to just rewrite the scripts.
I'm almost surprised Deadpool wasn't swapped, because I don't think Deadpool will have implications in the MCU. I just think he'll be like a goofy, we fell through a portal.
I don't know. Again, if you saw She-Hulk, who knows?
I loved it.
Who
Anyways.
Moving on.
I'll just kill himself because he hates She-Hulk so much. I don't think we have a producer or anything. Now he fake killed himself, people. No violence on the show. Well, he did
what are you doing over
Kyle
there?
did the bullet to the brain with his hand bullets.
To be fair, I did totally hand bullet myself.
I think you're crazy. I think She-Hulk was delightful.
Yeah, I thought it was too. I really enjoyed it. I did have one problem. Like, as the lawyer, I was like, okay, spoiler for She-Hulk. If you saw last week's episode, Jen went on a tear, or She-Hulk went on a tear. And I mean, not even went on a tear, right? Like, she hulked out, she burst through a door, and she grabbed someone, and she was arrested. And they're like, hey, you can plead guilty. And I'm like, plead guilty to what? And they're like, they'll drop the charge. Like, what charges? What the fuck has she been charged with? What did she do? Somebody say a
scary
crime.
monster.
Somebody mention a crime. Say a thing. No one did. They
But who
had
knows?
several news reports.
But here's the problem with that, is that we don't know enough about the current law system because of the superheroes, that if you are a raging Hulk, there could be new rules to you because you are a raging Hulk.
You're not wrong. There could
using
be
powers
some
in
assault.
public. Here's a
There
ticket.
could be some assault by transformation, right?
You're right. They should have mentioned
someone.
They should have
You could
mentioned
put someone
that
in
rule.
fear, apprehension of use of powers.
Well, let's be real. She-Hulk.
You can't have a
was not
law
the
show,
strong suit.
but
Law
you can't
was not
have.
the strong suit.
But you can't have a law show where the main character gets arrested and not say what the fuck they got arrested for. Like, that just bugged the shit out of that entire episode.
Any kind of put your hands on me, but
that guy was probably guilty of something.
She-Hulk. Yeah,
it was weird. Anyway, that was annoying. They were like, we need to talk about your case. What case? What case? What'd you do? Anyway,
like maybe some damages, but nothing more than when she destroyed that parking garage.
I'll go with that. But it would be then weird, because what other Avenger or what other superhero has been arrested or charged with damage to property?
Especially now the Sokovia Accords are gone. But we are getting on a little bit of a tangent.
I don't give a fuck. Anyway.
I just feel like so much time was wasted on Lord of the Rings.
Very sensitive to tangents
trying
today.
to keep us now, only because we talked about Lord of the Rings for 30 minutes.
So we're still on track. We got like one more
You're
story,
right.
two
Not
more
too bad.
stories.
We're talking She-Hulk now. Like, what did you guys think of the She-Hulk ending?
Loved it.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was
I don't
fun.
want to spoil it, but
let's talk spoilers. So the main thing I didn't like about it, about the She-Hulk ending, was that after she rearranged the pieces through KEVIN, we didn't actually get to see how things were resolved. It was just like, and it's resolved, which I get is a part of the comedy, but it's also just it made it more unsatisfying than it should have been. Like, I wanted to see sort of the things play out after she kind of changed everything.
That's why I liked it. It was so it was so packed of stuff, and I liked the showing it. We're like, well, he's not a Hulk anymore, and on the screen it cuts to just Todd becoming a normal person, and she's like, why the hell is Bruce here? What, for some movie like handoff? And I don't know. I kind of like the way it cuts the aftermath.
Anyway.
Yeah,
they did again at the end anyway. I mean, it was clearly the whole ending was like kind of a fuck you to fans in a way, where it's just like, and we're not going to do that, and we're not going to do that, which I appreciated.
Like, especially when
I just wish it was more. I just wish it was more emotionally satisfying. I just wish it was more emotionally satisfying as a result of the shifting. Go ahead, Nick. Now you can talk. Now that I'm done.
Wow. No, I'm kidding. I like her comment about they all end the same, because that's what my dad doesn't watch Marvel movies or even the Marvel TV shows anymore. He's like, why? I saw the last one where it was 30 minutes of special effects at the end.
And a big blue light at the end.
Yeah. Or like Shang-Chi. Probably one of their best movies. Probably one of their worst finales ever. Like,
I agree.
shame,
I fucking hated that whole third. Like that movie fell apart for me in that third act,
and it was great before that.
Yeah. It was really interesting to me that they commented on the CGI, and it's like, so did you make shitty CGI throughout the course of this movie or this show on purpose? I feel like that couldn't have been the case, right?
No,
it's a
joke.
So
No.
I like the joke. They moved on to their next project, and then you hear the Wakanda Forever theme when if you didn't notice it, he's like, they moved on to the next project, and it plays the one bar of the black, or like one part of the Black Panther theme. Yeah. That's funny.
It was interesting to me as a joke because it kind of reminded me of Venom when somebody talked about a turd rolling down the street or something like that. It's like, oh, you're just talking about yourself, right? Like the joke doesn't work because you are at who, me?
Yeah, you're projecting on that one.
No. Like it doesn't work as a joke because it is the thing, right? Like it is genuinely bad.
He is that turd.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, I gotta jump on this, Jonesy. I'm sorry. See, Jammer, you said Venom wasn't harmless, and now we're getting the crap from Madam Web. We're getting
I said it was harmless.
No, that's what I mean. You said it was harmless, and it's not. Venom is proving itself to be the word. We got Morbius because of Venom. I mean, I told all of you. You're right. Should all be ashamed for supporting
No. I hated Venom.
Good on you, Jonesy. Damn good
from
on you.
From the minute I saw the trailer. Listen, let me tell you.
To be fair, I never said it was good, and I never said I liked it or that I was looking forward to it. I just thought it was a harmless movie.
I told you it was going to be dangerous.
Kyle, I'm wrong.
I said it was going to be dangerous. Thank you,
You're right,
Jammer.
Kyle. I'm wrong.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Jammer.
Venom is the Donald Trump of the superhero world, right? And let me tell you how. Because they're like, because you're like, hey, what's the harm in letting Venom have his fun? Here we are.
Here we are.
Well,
here we are. The world is coming to an end. We're on the verge of nuclear war, all because of Venom.
Anyway,
yes,
I did get to see Tatiana Maslany in a thong, so that was like the highlight of She-Hulk. It was very exciting. What do you mean, kind of?
I mean, it was like she had shorts over it. You just got to see the thong pulled up high. Okay. Whatever.
Jonesy likes whale tails, to stop hating on that, Jen.
Don't. You make it sound like you're describing something that would make it not as awesome as it was. It's great.
Well, I mean, your implication was like, I saw her in a thong as if it was just the thong, but that wasn't the case. I'm just making sure for audiences who haven't seen
Marvel
it. Marvel
Studios. She's obviously not in just a thong.
You never know. You never know.
No. Super hot. Anyway.
No, but I thought...
go watch Orphan. It's awesome.
Orphan Black, you mean? Yeah.
Anyway. You guys ready to move on?
Am I ready to move on? Let me think here. I'm glad they recognized that guy should not have been a Hulk. That would have been frustrating if he was actually going to be turned into a Hulk.
Yeah, as that ending was unfolding, I'm like, especially when Titania came through. And I was like,
yeah, it just made no sense.
What?
That's the thing, is like it jumbled all these things together, and it was just like, this is stupid. And then it was, and then they waved it off.
Yeah.
And then they made it unsatisfying. I was just like, it was all done on purpose, but it still kind of just made me feel like, wait, so what is real and what isn't? One thing I do like that Emil Blonsky is still good. I like that. Because clearly when he was a speaker there, he thought he was being like just self-help coach. He didn't realize he was speaking to a bunch of 4chan incels. He thought it was something completely different, which is fine. And I was like, okay, cool. And then
is he still good though?
I think so. He's with Wong.
You just explained the thing though. Is he still good?
He left with Wong after trying to save her life in a scene that may have not existed or not. Well, yeah.
No,
Captain America broke the law. He's still good.
Well, he broke out of prison.
He broke the law, but he's still good. Like, he's not like, I'm back to being a raging abomination now.
I like that he has an arc. That's fun.
His character arcs remain, which I appreciate.
Well, Steve Rogers broke like 3 would-be Avengers out of prison. We don't call him a bad guy. He broke out Ant-Man.
Yeah, that's because they broke the Sokovia
Scarlet Witch.
You only do if you're Team Iron Man. You only do if you're Team Iron Man, which I always appreciated. At the end of Civil War, after Tanya watched it, she was just like, why would anybody be Captain America? And that just makes me very happy. That
you can go either way.
Wait, so your team Stark?
I'm
No.
Team Cap. Oh, he was
Oh,
he found it interesting that someone would still take a side after watching it.
No, I didn't say that. Tanya
Oh.
said that. She was like, "Why would
Oh.
anyone be Team Cap?" After
No, but
she
I
watched
think that's
Civil
what's
War.
interesting about it is that
That's-
it's not just
that was-
before the movie coming out. Yeah.
Welcome to the conversation, Nick. It's exactly
Well,
what I
that's
was
what
saying.
I just said. That's what I just said. Your opinion was. You're like, no, Tanya said this. And it's like, yes,
well,
I
I'm
heard
saying
that, and you made that
she
point.
said that. No, but you made it sound like I was the one who said that. I wasn't the one who said that. She was.
Okay.
Ding ding. Anyway, so last week we talked about the fact that Henry Cavill might come back. Now we know Henry Cavill's coming back. So there is a scene that has leaked from the new Black Adam, and I think it's the only reason I really want to see Black Adam now. So Henry Cavill is confirmed. There's also a story where Dwayne Johnson seemingly welcomed him back. So he posted like this cryptic thing where he said, "Welcome back." And then the scene leaked. I guess I have a question about this. So the scene we got is Henry Cavill peering out of some sort of smoke. It's weird. And saying to Black Adam, "Hey, we need to talk," right? Super short. Ends. Do you think the Warner Brothers leaked this on purpose? Or
Sure.
allowed it to leak?
I mean, like it wasn't even a thing. Like Dwayne Johnson was basically maybe because he was basically saying right beforehand, he was like, "That's the whole point of this is for me to fight Superman." He like straight up said it before like several days
skip to
before it
that
was even
movie.
leaked.
Yes,
to the verses.
but before that, we did not know who Superman was going to be. So we saw Shazam. Hold up. In Shazam, you got to see someone in the suit, no head. You heard all these stories about Michael B. Jordan potentially being either Superman or a version of Superman. And you just kind of heard that he was being tossed about and screwed around with as far as whether or not he was going to return. So you're not wrong in that. Yeah, right. It was all leading towards him fighting Superman, but which Superman?
I mean, I think he made it clear that it was going to be Henry Cavill based on everything.
Well, he had that one quote a while back where they're like, would you like to think us about Superman? He's like, hell yeah, it depends. Or he's like, would Superman beat you or be able to hold his own in a battle? And he's like, it depends which Superman it is. Remember when he had that quote?
Yeah.
And there was also a recent quote where he talks about there's one hero who's just been sidelined for too long. And that was like this past week as well.
You could still recast
and
it.
To me,
I mean,
that would be true regardless of
and
who's
to
playing.
Me, that says it's not just the hero, but it's the guy who played him that's been sidelined. That's how I interpret it. Agreed. It's not like set in stone. You could easily interpret it the other way, but that's how I interpreted it.
Methinks thou art reading way too much into that.
Yeah, it's our job.
Because like when he says that, it could just mean Superman. Because like since we've last seen Superman, we've gotten a brand new Batman and a Joker movie.
But I think Dwayne Johnson is smart. I think he would have known. I don't think he would have been building it up as he did if it was just like, surprise, it's a different Superman. I think he knows enough about fans to know they would have been like, what the fuck is this? That's not what we want, Mr. Johnson. We wanted something different.
I think he could have just as easily said, I want to fight Henry Cavill.
Yeah. He didn't.
Right.
Okay.
That's my interpretation of it.
I mean, he could have, but he didn't. And also Henry Cavill's back. So
yeah. I think another way of thinking about that is publicly he's like, I want to fight Superman. Behind the scenes, like if that was his preference, which it seems like it was, behind the scenes he's working that.
You know what it is?
And
I think you're right. I was interpreting it a specific way. The big difference is that in tandem with this, we've been hearing reports about him basically pushing on them to bring back Henry Cavill. So that in tandem with those comments, I think had me jump to the conclusion that, oh yeah, he's back for sure.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was this past week or so. This past week or so, there were reports about how literally he is the driving force behind that. And in tandem with those comments, and then before those came out before the cameo did, and then the cameo actually came out like this past 24 hours or whatever. Then it's like, yeah, okay.
So I think anything before this week is interpreting too much into it. Yes,
I agree.
So
But those
Yeah,
comments, I
that's
think,
fair.
were about a week ago, right? If I'm not mistaken, or at least I heard about them throughout this past week.
He's been saying it a lot. Like
Mm.
that has been his consistent refrain.
But the specific
Since
ones that
the
I'm
beginning.
talking about, where he's like, "That's what the whole point of this is, man, is for me to fight Superman," and then him saying like, "There's a hero that's been sidelined for too long." Those quotes that at least I heard them around the same time, or right after we heard about him really pushing for Henry Cavill as a part of his contract and stuff. So it all just kind of built up to the point where when it released, I was like, "Yeah."
So,
But yeah, to
I will
answer your
say-
question, yes, I think it could have been leaked on purpose, or at the very least, it's been leaked and they have
And
not
allowed
taken
to
it down
stay.
or suppressed it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe even The Rock
Um,
leaked it, like Tim Miller or Ryan Reynolds. Depending
Ryan
who
Reynolds or Tim Miller. Yeah.
Yeah, depending who you. Well, you still don't know for sure, but yeah, it's one of those two guys.
It's Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I think it was Ryan Reynolds too.
Hey guys,
else?
Danny just finished a workout.
That's good. Just tell
You
him to get
guys
his
are
ass on the show
so
now.
weird tracking each other's bodies like that. What the
Wow.
hell?
Why?
I don't track no one's body, not even my own.
I'm impressed. Jammer's been running his ass off.
I
Literally.
have a 12-mile run today.
Yeah, see, it's impressive. I work in a room where I can't bring my fucking smartphone or my fucking smartwatch, so it's very annoying. It's almost like a waste of money. Anyway, random note. So we've got Michelle Yeoh, who is going to be in the new Transformers film, Rise of the Beast. And this wasn't like a big deal story to the point where I give zero fucks about the fact that Pete Davidson is in it unless he dies, Suicide Squad style. My question for you guys was about this. Do you think that has any implications on the script? Michelle Yeoh is not known for making mid or shit movies.
I don't know. It's hard to tell because you never know with these big movies how much they're actually showing scripts to people or how much they're just signing on to a brand. It varies per project, so it's really hard to tell.
But I guess.
I mean, your
me,
implication
when I
is
think
that
about
she picks her
her-
projects carefully, right? She doesn't just sign on to that. Maybe, or maybe she's just like, you know what? It would be fun to be in a really big blockbuster.
So to that point, she's going to be that, and she's going to be in the new Hercule Poirot film.
Poirot,
Mhm.
Hercule Poirot.
Which I'm more excited for than this story, but
I think I'm more excited for Transformers, mostly because of the director, so Stephen Cable Jr. And as this cast gets round, I was more excited about Michelle Yeoh. The fact that Pete Davidson's in it, I'm feeling not quite as good about it. So we'll see. But yeah, I was just curious what you guys thought about that.
I think you're right.
If
As
anything
far
in it.
as Stephen Cable Jr. definitely brings an extra air of what's the word I'm
What was
looking
that?
for?
What did he direct?
He did Creed 2. An extra
okay.
air of credibility that this is
Yeah.
going to be a quality thing. But at the same time, this is written by Joby Harold and several other people. So, it's a typical thing.
What did Joby write?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh,
He was a story writer on the Flash movie, which we haven't seen yet. He also did Army of the Dead. And King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. But again, it's really hard. It's really hard to gauge quality when it comes to screenwriters because I feel like you really never know if a writer is good until they write something that's sort of independent. Because when you're just a cog in the machine, who knows who's telling you what to do, right? So Stephen Cable Jr. though, really good director. He has done something a little bit. I guess Creed isn't indie, but it kind of has that indie feel to it. So good stuff there. And I liked Bumblebee, and hopefully they're at least maybe taking hints from that and making a more streamlined and personalized story. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that, at least for me, between the director and the cast, so we've got Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback, who are also going to be starring in that, who are the leads in this. So I think between the three of them plus the supporting cast, I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, the pieces so far are looking good. If you had said to me, all of these people are on board Star Wars or a Marvel movie, I would be pretty stoked. It literally is just the brand that has me worried. So with that in mind, I mean, there's no reason not to be positive until we see something that has me say otherwise.
And I guess my point, not really a big point. I still haven't seen Bumblebee. One of the reasons I haven't seen it, even though I hear it's good, and I want to see it, I just haven't gotten to it. But one of the reasons I don't watch it quicker is it's like I was saying earlier, fool me once, shame on you. It's like I've been fooled 3 fucking times. I've watched 3 Transformer movies, and
the
they've all
difference
been
is no one was telling you that those movies were good before you saw them.
That's true, but you're like, maybe it'll be better. No, it's worse. Maybe it'll be better. Oh no, it's much worse. And I didn't even watch the Mark Wahlberg one because I'm like,
so you fooled
I know
yourself.
this will be terrible. Yeah,
They're 2 Mark Wahlberg movies, right? 2.
Yeah, there's The Last Night, and then there's
Age of
Last
Extinction.
Age of Extinction, and then The Last Night.
Both absolute dog shit.
I've avoided 2 burnings at least.
Here's the thing:
I still have 2 fingers left.
2 burnings.
I actually don't mind the first and third one. I hate the rest.
I like the first one. I love the first one. The first one is a guilty pleasure of mine. I think it's a lot of fun. Yeah. It's not Transformers.
The music is fantastic.
It is a good score, but that doesn't save a movie for me. It's a great score.
I also think that the second movie, had they not been in a writer's strike, would have been good.
I mean, I don't trust anything that Michael Bay does. Like, he has a potential to taint anything.
He does, but I can see, this is going to sound weird, I can see a good movie in there.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Best Transformers stuff out recently is the War for Cybertron trilogy on Netflix. I highly
we watched
recommend
that.
We did part 1 for the show.
All 3 were good.
They didn't like it.
Jonesy, what'd you think? Jonesy's center camera.
I thought it was
right
okay.
Now. Really?
I thought it was okay.
I liked them.
I felt it was fine,
okay.
but it was just boring. I was bored.
Those Transformers.
I think it was too much filler. I think it was.
So grown up
I think it was
boring?
too much filler.
Sometimes.
Jammer.
I think that is true. Sometimes it does mean boring.
So you got to eat your vegetables, right, in order to get the body that you want. So,
yeah. If anybody wants to go back and listen to an old school episode of the show, we actually talked to Lindsay Rousseau, who was in that, which was fun because that was one where she joined us for the whole show, right, Jammer?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think so.
It was a good time.
Like I say, like War for Cybertron, I would say like it's fine. Like I could see why people like it, but for me, I was just bored.
Yeah,
for a certain type of people who's really steeped in mythology and really likes Transformers, totally get why you like it. It just wasn't for me.
When they met the beasts, I got back into it a little bit more. Like it was just there was too much of a lull in there. Too many episodes. Either it should have been tighter.
I can agree with that.
Like, yeah,
I can definitely. When you look at the whole trilogy, you can look at it as you could have cut a few here in the first arc, a few in the second arc, and maybe get to the third arc a little bit quicker. But interesting.
I got genuinely excited when Beast Wars character showed up. Like I was like, I'm into this now. I mean, I was into it in the beginning, then it lulled a little bit, but I loved getting to see the Beast Wars characters again. I loved that cartoon when I was a kid.
I think Nick and I are just maybe a little too young for the franchise. We're like, we literally missed it by a few years, so it doesn't have any.
Was on like before school and stuff. I just never had a taste.
Yeah, never got into it. Well, it's because it was once again connected to the Transformers franchise, which was too old. Like,
I didn't even know it was connected to Transformers.
Yeah, but it was.
I just remember the ads, Beast Wars.
Yeah, it was connected in the same way that like the animation style is different. Like the mythology is there. It was basically a reboot. You could have watched it and not really have known much about the original. So they got super weird towards the end of that show. Now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, speaking of super weird, you guys want to talk about Hellraiser?
Yeah, sure. Hellraiser it up.
So as I look at things, I always find myself shocked when I look at numbers. So Hellraiser, looking at Rotten Tomatoes, has a 67% from the critics and a 62% from the audience. So relatively close.
I almost agree. It's the closest they get. It's 5 points.
Yeah. So where is the? Oh no, I lost the thingy. Man, I am not on my P's and Q's today.
Losing all his thingies.
Yeah, I'm losing all my things. So Hellraiser is a film. Oh, God damn it.
It is
usually
a film.
have all. It is a film.
Hellraiser is a film. It's a new horror film. It's a reboot.
There we go.
Of
a young woman must confront the sadistic supernatural forces behind an enigmatic puzzle box responsible for her brother's disappearance. Anyway, this film was directed by David Brubaker. Bruckner, and is a story by David Goyer and Clive Barker. Yeah.
I didn't know David Goyer wrote this.
No, story. No,
well, who's the screenwriter then?
Not him.
Who's the screenwriter?
I don't know. Someone forget it.
I
remember watching the credits, and the only name I recognized was Goyer, but he was definitely
screenplay by Ben Collins and Luke Piotrowski.
Boom. Neither of which are David Goyer. No, I'm kidding. Like I said, that's all I knew is that he didn't write it.
Well, I was just surprised because he just said two names, and I know Clive Barker didn't write this version. So I was just like, well, I guess David Goyer wrote, but no, I guess he just did the story.
Guess not. So we'll do this. Do you guys want to do this as we've been doing the new way, which is would you recommend this film or not, and then get into details?
Yeah.
All right. So, Nick, would you recommend this film?
If you like horror movies, yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Jammer?
Seemed harmless.
It's hard for me to say if you like horror movies. I'm not a horror movie person. I don't like horror movies, but I really enjoyed this movie. I say if you like thrillers and are okay with some gore and some supernatural elements, yes. And also horror, because I don't know what horror movie people like. I don't know how much they like this one, but if you like thrillers with some supernatural aspects and some gore thrown in for good measure, I think it's a good watch.
Okay. For myself, I would not recommend this film.
One who actually knows more about horror.
I was surprised by that because I feel like you were definitely like, I feel like you're probably more steeped in this than I am. And I was watching and I was like, this is pretty good. And I think for me, it has actually, you finish your thing before I get into mine.
So what, deep diving?
Yeah. I wanted you, because you didn't give initial thoughts outside of you would not recommend it. So if you have anything else to add in general terms.
It started out well, it lulled in the middle, and then by the time I got to the end, I just didn't care anymore.
Interesting. I kind of see where you're coming from, because I feel like for me, this story for me, it is what the best horror movies have, to the point where I just like, I'm always like, get out of the way, horror movie. I care more about the characters than I do about the horror elements. And I feel like that's how I always feel about the best horror stories. And that's how I felt about this one. Like I was very invested in the characters and what their struggles were. And yeah, partway through, I was just like, oh, get out of the way, Pinhead, or whatever they call it, character.
No, it's Pinhead. Yeah.
Pinhead. And I was like, I don't want to see you right now. Don't worry about it. I just want to see these people struggle, and I want to see her come out on top, and them to, I was really invested in what was happening, even though I wasn't really cared too much about the horror stuff that much. But at the end, I thought it came together fairly well. I still don't quite understand what these people are, and I doubt I'm supposed to fully understand. But it was intriguing, and I thought it was fun to watch. I was engaged. I felt grounded, and I cared, even if I guess there was a bit of a lull. But even by the end, like by the time it went full horror, I was invested in like, okay, I'm kind of on board with what's happening now. I get it. And I was interested in how things would turn out. For reference, I have right here next to me my writing stuff that I was going to do. I was planning on doing some like work as I was watching it. I didn't do any work. I was fully invested and engaged throughout the whole movie. So I wrote a single note card, and I was supposed to do some other stuff. So because of this movie, I did not do any work. So I think that's a sign of an intriguing and decent movie for me.
The podcast is work, Jammer, right? So like watching, preparing for the podcast, that's work.
I know, work. But I'm saying like other writing work that pays money.
The work that pays, that's right. I agree. So here's what I did enjoy about the movie. I love the look of it, right? Whatever filter they were using when they were filming it, so I was like, this is like the 80s. Like this looks like the 80s, and that was helped by a lot with what they did with. Yeah.
Was this supposed to take place in the 80s?
No.
Oh,
no, it wasn't.
Okay.
Shit. He's saying the look.
The look of it is was that. And so that was aided by like how they dressed characters. the way they look. So like Odessa Asian, the lead actress, the way her hair was and the way she dressed, I was like, this feels like a character straight out of the 80s. And so as someone who watched this series when I was younger, I appreciated feeling like I was just being dropped right back to being a kid and watching the series. I like that stuff. I liked the body horror elements of it. I do think that they did a good job of kind of making you wince when the chains came out and like rending flesh and bone.
I could have done without
that.
Well, that's part of the
but that's the point.
But
I know that's the point.
That is the franchise.
That was the part I did not like the most. I was just like, I don't need that.
That's why I didn't want to watch this, but I'll watch anything for the podcast. But like, oh man, this is not.
Well, you know, Nick,
there's
been at least one project where you're like, I'm not going to watch that.
Yeah,
that was both
of
us.
Horror movies,
but I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I can do anything for the podcast.
Almost.
There's a difference.
I just did 2 in a row that are very against my type of thing.
Nick was trying to convince us to do Morbius on Marvel Multiverse Mayhem. So yeah, he'll watch exactly. No one on YouTube wants to do that. Nick was desperate to find someone to watch it with him though. Janet, you could help him out.
No, I don't.
Kyle would rather cut himself on a freaking Hellraiser cube than
I will solve that cube.
Morbius.
I will solve that cube
get chained
before
and ripped apart.
Absolutely, way better.
I remember I was trying to remember from the lore. It's like, was it the box cutting you that causes? And I could not remember because I resolved to not go back and watch any of the stuff to try and catch up. I remember, like, I have a note that says when they got to the mansion, that's when I got bored. I just mentally checked out of what I was watching, which is sad because I do think that there was some good stuff here.
There was some really good stuff there. I'm surprised you were bored at that point because I think I was bored a little bit before that, for 5 minutes maybe. But I also kind of blame myself on that one because I think I was mildly distracted because I spilled my coffee and I had to fucking clean it up. And I was like, I'm running out of time. I got to keep it going. And so I kind of disengaged.
I think there wasn't enough murders. There weren't enough murders. I needed more death, which is going to sound with weird.
That. I like horror movies where it's not just death. It's like each death kind of means something or has impact in some way and contributes, and it's not just death. Though I will say Nora is a character that clearly existed just to be killed because she didn't do a fucking thing up until before she almost died. So that is one criticism I have, is that for the first part of the movie, I was like, she's like just there. She's not doing anything or saying anything until she matters.
You're talking about the roommate, right?
Yeah.
What was funny about her was she had said so little. My wife was like, did she always have an accent? And I was like, I honestly,
yeah, I had the same thought too.
So yeah, I needed more. I needed more. Yeah. Anyway, Nick, what'd you think?
But yeah, I thought it was good. I was surprised. I'm surprised that you didn't like it, Jonesy. I thought you would have enjoyed it.
Well, I think he's comparing it to the original, which was better. Like, would that be the case, Jonesy?
I do think
you have more reverence for the first one.
Better.
Yeah,
I do.
Like for me and you, Jam, we're not comparing it to anything that came before. We're just like, okay. That wasn't a waste of time. That was a horror movie. But for him, it's like, oh,
it wasn't. Yeah, I'm happy I watched it. Me
too, even though I was scared.
Yeah. For me, it wasn't scary. Was it scary to people? Because for me, I watched it and I'm like,
this one or the original?
What's scary about it?
I wouldn't say it's. I don't like the gruesomeness of it. It's not like I was waiting for the next scare. That was never occurred to me. It was just I don't like how gruesome.
Because I guess I differentiate
chains and like peeling, which is the whole point of the franchise.
But yeah, I guess I don't consider that scary. I just consider it
gross.
Gore.
Yeah,
I think those are separate things. For me, scared is like
you're right.
I'm like mentally paranoid
or
afraid of what's happening.
For me. Yeah, I wasn't like that. I was just like, ugh, another guy got ripped apart by chains. I was a little afraid every time someone touched it, if a knife would pop out.
You're that was like, all is it going to happen? Yeah. Stop pulling out the knife or stop touching it.
And that actually irritated the shit out of me. I remember the scene where they went to see the woman in hospice. I assume it was hospice care, right? The one that was dying of cancer. And she's trying to take the box from him. She's like, no, give me the box. And she ends up getting cut. I'm like, that was really stupid. Like all
She's
of that
also
was dumb.
dying from lung cancer.
But that wasn't her intent, right? She just wanted to take the box. And so that struggle.
Obviously, what I guess I'm different than you because for the main character, I know why she was struggling. I know why she wanted to cling on to it. And I think this other woman wanted to prevent further damage from happening or something. I don't remember. Maybe it was like the ring. I don't really know what her motivations were, but there's a desperation there in tandem with the fact that she's really sick and not all there. That made it believable for me.
I don't know about the not all there part, but
I thought it was an insane asylum at first, but yeah, I just think it's hospice.
Yeah.
Or something. Because she's not there like rattling on about the box. I enjoyed it, except for all the blood, which I knew was gonna happen. It's not like it was a shock to me. Touched up to that Rick and Morty episode, which I referenced last time we brought up Hellraiser. I have a question for you, Jonesy, since you've seen the original. The drug thing, her being a druggie, felt like the Evil Dead remake, where it was an addition. Though in Evil Dead, it tied in a lot more. Like when she was possessed, they just thought she was going through withdrawals, like making the main character.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't seem to like they did use that in this too, where it's like, how do you know he like didn't come out of the bathroom? Like you were passed out. Like, is that kind of the same deal? Where like let's add another level to it. Okay.
Yeah, it seemed like it. That it was definitely a level of like, well, we can't. You're an unreliable narrator. We can't trust what you did or didn't see that happened to your brother. I'm kind of glad they didn't go the other potential route. Was like, did you kill your brother?
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't have that.
Yeah, that just would have seemed weird.
Question number 2: do the people she kill based on or him back in the day, do you learn across the movies, do they become these monsters or they just go to hell? Like if you normally get attacked by do you become a monster, or it's always the same monsters? Or demons?
No, it's not always the same monster. So Pinhead is the only consistent one.
Okay.
Like there were times that people would die and become Cenobites, and it wasn't always consistent as to the rationale.
Sometimes it happens. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like you would see somebody die and then it would immediately come back as one of them.
For this one, I could almost see like the pattern for the difference between all the other characters and the guy at the end who transformed is that he was seeking pleasure through he was just fucking, and I'm sure everyone who will turn into that at one point we're seeking either pleasure or pain or something along those lines.
Pleasure is pain. Pain is pleasure.
Yeah, so to your point, Jammer, to the best of my recollection, everyone that became a Cenobite, it's not because they unlocked the ultimate form.
No T in there.
Man, I always want to add like T's.
Yeah. Cenobite.
Yeah, Cenobite. Yeah,
almost sounds like a tasty cinnamon treat.
That's what I was gonna say.
Cenobite.
I want to go to the mall right now,
dude. Cinnabon, get that freaking.
You know what it is?
In.
It's. I keep thinking of like centipede. That's where what's going on with my brain. But what was I gonna say? Oh, it isn't. People don't become Cenobites because they like pass some tests or unlock some different level of the box and attain some higher level. But in this, it seemed like because he had gotten up to was it the Leviathan?
It's funny because I interpreted it differently.
Sensation for power. Sorry,
I interpret it as he wanted pleasure and then basically backed out.
Yeah.
So if basically you ask for a gift and then when you back out, then you turn into a Cenobite.
Yeah, and I'm saying that previously, I don't remember that being the case. Like it seemed like, like this person's going to become a Cenobite.
So what the fuck is Pinhead?
Mystical being, she. Well, that's the thing. They did there was a big deal about swapping genders, and just watching this one, not having seen the other one, I'm like, it really doesn't seem to make a difference. It seems almost like a genderless character. Like,
well, I think I remember hearing arguments that in the novella that it's like a sexually androgynous character.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I'm not familiar. Whatever.
So, I think they described him correctly in this. They were basically like, or not him, her, that they're basically priests. Yeah, they're priests. No. When I said them, I meant all of them. They're
Mm.
priests, right? And they're like, this thing coming from the sky, that's our god. And so I think that would be an accurate way to describe him. Or do you
Pinhead's
mean
the
something
Pope.
more specific, like is Pinhead a demon?
What the fuck is Pinhead? What is it?
I think he's
What are they?
just like a demonic type priest. It's the best way I can think of to describe him.
Well, if he's
A
a main
priest to
character
what?
and they're all running around, then she
A
is
priest
the
to
Pope.
who? Who do they worship? And who do they?
That big thing
Who
in the
is-
sky.
Leviathan.
Yeah, who is that? Who is the Leviathan?
Leviathan,
Where
yeah.
do they come from? Why do they come from? Why is Gamora?
You'll have to,
It's
wait
too
for
much.
the reboot prequel.
Too much.
Prequel.
Yeah. So if this does well, I'm sure they'll try and explain it. There was, which movie was it? Was it the third one? There's one where they go in and explain who Pinhead as a person actually is.
Elliot Spencer.
Yeah. So he is a British soldier. And he finds this box and he does the thing, and they take him way back, World War One or two. I think it was one. And he
Kyle thinks
becomes
it's
Pinhead.
He's not sure.
You think it's two?
Kyle put up 2, but now he's unsure.
I'll look.
All right, let's fucking soldier's gonna look this shit up. Which fucking war it is?
Yeah, it's one. It's one. World War One. You're right.
I know one thing. I
You
still
know
don't think
World
that
War
makes
One
up for the
thing.
Centobite thing.
Nice, Jam.
So
Thank you.
so he is a human that got corrupted and changed by the box. So
Okay. I'm unsatisfied by that answer, but okay.
Well, then
Because then the question is,
didn't want
what
more of an
transformed
answer than what
him?
we got. But maybe
I
they'll
want
do that in the
answers.
the box
Like,
Give
did.
me some grounding and shit.
I was the opposite
box
of Jammer.
transformed.
I'm
Where's
just
the
like,
box
okay.
come from?
It's like
The
Jumanji.
box
We never know where the
was
box comes from.
created. No, yeah, you do. The box was created by this French family. And
Okay,
so there's this
follow.
one
On the
movie.
vineyard.
Sure. There's this one movie where they show, it's kind of cool. Actually, it's not scary, but I like it because they explain the lore and the history of what happened with the box. So there was this, it was a puzzle slash toy that this guy makes. I don't remember how it gets corrupted in this way, but it is part of the movie. But the story is basically this guy who is trying to redeem his family. And he's like, hey, we created this box. We've unleashed this misery and hell on the world. And so it's my job as one of the descendants of this family to make it stop and go away. And I liked it from a lore perspective. It's not frightening. It's not scary at all, but it's interesting, I thought.
It kind
So-
of reminds me, just this whole movie does remind me of that one scene in Cabin in the Woods where they're like, what are they going to select in the basement? And one of them is like a puzzle cube. Because like they're like, you know, the scene where the office employees are like watching and betting on what item they're going to select from the basement that'll unleash like which kind of monster fights them. And like one of the kids picked up a cube or like, look at this, it's a puzzle cube. But then someone else was like, no, look at this. And he puts it down and like, I don't know. I love that movie and the way it treats horror movies and just references movies like this. So
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I remember about the lore. I need to go back and read some more about it because I do remember liking it.
cool.
Yeah, this is good though.
What else?
I appreciated it. I enjoyed it. Horror is never my go-to, but I enjoyed it.
Same.
I just
It wasn't
it's so
as
weird
good
that
as,
Jonesy didn't like it.
Malignant, but
It's fine. It's like a C. Like I can't think of a reason why. Like I didn't find it to be particularly scary. I didn't think it was particularly interesting from a lore perspective. It just was.
I give it a C too.
I gave it a
Yeah.
B.
Shocking.
Clearly, I enjoyed it the
Shocking.
most out of all of us.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I
was
watched it without
invested
the
enough
game
to-
going. Yeah.
I was invested enough in the characters and to what was happening that I wanted to see how things would turn out. So,
Yeah.
like, I was engaged with the characters and what they did, like, even outside of the supernatural stuff. Get that out of here. It's just like,
So here's a question for you all: why didn't the Cenobite, or Pinhead specifically, choose to kill the main chick?
Why did he give her a second? Why did he give her like a choice to either
Mhm.
feed him 2 more or die herself. I think probably they wanted, we can give you an option, get us 2 more people or just 1.
No, but there was 2 more who had to touch the thing and go, and that could have just been her.
No, I know that, but I'm saying he said either you or 2 other people. As the Pinhead, I was like, I'll give you the choice. I'm gonna get at least 1, but if I get you to get me 2 more, that's 1 more person.
I think it ties back to her drug usage. At the end, she says that kind of thing where she's like, "Oh, you're gonna be miserable the rest of your life, and you're taking that as your like reward, just being mentally miserable."
That wasn't a drug thing, no.
No, but again, like I think it all ties into it because that's like a lot of reasons a lot of people use drugs is depression and stuff like that. So it's like,
what does this have to do with the choice? What does it have to do with Pinhead telling her?
That's why she was like, I can use this person and still torture her without having to bring her to hell or whatever. Like she's already broken person. Let me get 2 not broken people out of it that I can torture.
I don't know. That's not what I picked up.
Answer I have for it. It's the best answer I got.
Jonesy?
I didn't think it was anything like. I didn't think it tied into the end. I couldn't think of a reason why she would do that, because it was the idea like, oh, hey, that knife, that blade that came out was for you. Yeah, that was for you. And so she was like, you need to bring me somebody else. Later on, Pinhead does prick her. And now she's like, hey, it's either going to be you or it's going to be somebody else. And so at the point where Pinhead stabbed her, I didn't understand why she gave her a choice then. She hadn't displayed any kind of mental acuity, any kind of personality, anything that would. Sometimes in movies like this, something will happen where somebody, okay, Nick, you'll get this, where the Borg Queen was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I get you, right? There wasn't anything like that in this that would make me understand why Pinhead gave any fuck about why after she was pricked, what she did. She's like, no, I got you now. That was the whole point for a bit. I got you.
That's a good point. That's a good comparison to
maybe because she was the only one among them that Pinhead thought that she still had a drive and a motivation to infect other people, and that was to see her brother again. Or to save her brother.
Oh yeah, Pinhead did know what her final wish would be, or though. But monkey paw, he would have gotten back like a zombie.
I mean,
exactly.
She didn't learn all that until like even they met the guy at the end, because he was the first guy to make a wish. They hadn't seen him yet, and he's got like his little machine in him. It's like twisting his tendons and muscles, and because he chose sensation the first time. It's not called pleasure; it's called sensation.
I mean, I'll give it to you, Jonesy. Like, it's not clear that there's a good answer for that, and it's kind of a weakness in the story.
And that's part of why I got wrapped around the axle. Like, I'm bored, and 2, like, this, whatever this is, doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I was grasping for straws with my drug answer.
And I was grasping for straws too. Like, I think I justified it in the moment, but looking back on it, I'm like, oh yeah, there really wasn't a reason.
In the moment didn't take me out of it. So I'm like, ooh, more people are going to die. And our main character isn't yet. Yay!
They're not genies, right? Their desire isn't to grant wishes. So from that perspective,
at that point.
Right.
I got no answer
in the beginning.
You,
certainly thought he was going to be.
I got nothing for you.
Wish.
I have.
It just seemed weird. And to put it another way, again, I hate the idea of having to compare it to the original. Like, original recipe, Pinhead would have just killed her. Yeah. And the other one is interesting. When he, to the best of my recollection, when he chose not to kill someone, there was a reason. Like, the one where you got to see him as Spencer, the reason he didn't kill the main girl is because there was something about her that reminded him of somebody from his past. And he actually referred to himself in the third person. So the main chick was trying to separate Pinhead from Spencer, just like you're doing right now with your face jammer. And so she was interested in the human underneath. And so that kind of stuff was interesting. And again, here was like, yeah, I'm just not going to kill you just cause. Like, okay.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if maybe the writer can give me like, hey, you clearly missed this, or someone else can comment and say it's clear because of this. I'm open to hearing that, but
yeah,
it is. It does seem to be a narrative issue.
Goyer wrote this into the story, so I'm just gonna throw it out there. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. Goyer knows what he's doing. It's in his outline. I'm not gonna explain it past that.
Does he?
That's the joke.
Does he?
Goyer is half the time.
I know. I'm just saying, does he?
Yeah. But for me, for me, and once again, this is another thing Kyle hates about everything I like. This movie to me succeeded where it counts, which is the characters. The logic may not line up, but because I'm invested in what's happening, I don't really care that much.
Yeah. I guess.
I hate you, Jammer.
Just into it for me. Did you watch this, Kyle?
No, I've not seen it yet. Brian, though, who does AVR with us, he's a huge Hellraiser fan. Original, the short story or novella, whatever you want to call it. And he loved this. He thought it was great. Yeah, cool. He said some of the effects were kind of wonky on the CGI side. And then he said the pinhead thing worked. He said they changed the lore, and he was okay with it, though. He said that this is different in some ways. Different. He said he was okay with it, though. So
cool.
I'm looking forward to giving it a try. We chose to watch Chainsaw Man instead.
Nice.
Yeah, that's on Netflix over here. I gotta watch that. I'm gonna watch that soon.
Lucky.
Yeah. So yeah. Anything else? You guys ready?
I'm all like tortured out, man.
All
stitch pins and then ripping my flesh and like got chains in me.
Chainsaw Man in you?
No. Just the
crossover,
regular ripping kind. Crossover Hellraiser meets Chainsaw Man.
That'd actually be pretty cool.
Coming to Hulu.
That would be hilarious.
So, dear listener, if you like what you heard, do all the socials, like, rate, comment, subscribe, share. We would definitely appreciate it. Also, LRM Online and the Genreverse Podcast Network have other great content for your reading and listening pleasure. Other than that, Jam, where can you be found? Or pain.
You can find me on Twitter at Jam the Writer, and you can also find me and all my books under the name AJ Cerna on Amazon and Audible, or magiabooks.com. That's MAGIA books.com.
You sound as bored as I was watching this movie. Nick, where can you be found?
Look out, Tolkien. AJ Cerna's coming for you.
Oh, God, don't do that.
Don't do that. I'm Aki Nickdahl on Twitter. I also do Marvel Multiverse Mayhem with Kyle, who's at that Kyle Malone on Twitter.
All right. Folks, as always. What? Yeah. Sorry. And you can find me at Sir Jonesius on Twitter, TikToks, and Instagram, and all those other places. And I did get one. I just... You know what? I felt I had an old man moment where, you know how you... how can I explain this? There was an article that explained, they were like, yeah, the Utes are using TikTok as Google, and they're like genuinely looking things up informationally on TikTok. It's like, that's fucking weird. And up until that point, I'd kind of just written off TikTok as like being not stupid. It's not how I like spending my time, and it's still not. Now that I have one, it is not me.
I'm gonna try my best to stay up with the times, mostly because I don't want to be that crotchety old man being like, kids are stupid.
And that's it
for me. Like, that's one of the reasons why I also appreciate language and how it changes and like the different slang that's being used now. And I'm like, why be a grumpy old man about it? Language change is kind of the beautiful thing about it. I should embrace it and understand it rather than just poo-poo it. So I get it. That
what you're describing is 100% my rationale, but what what it made me more firm in is my belief that doom scrolling is not my thing. And so the idea of like just flicking through my phone and like watching like back-to-back bullshit.
That's why you gotta make it. So for me, if I do TikTok or Instagram, it's exclusively book-related content or pets. That's it. That's
Instagram,
all I look at.
Instagram has gotten better at my preferences. I haven't used TikTok nearly as much, but for the content that is not my friends, Instagram is like, oh, you like guitar shit. Here's all the guitar stuff you want. Like, all right, cool.
You gotta work the algorithm with TikTok. Then you gotta use it a bit more so that it caters.
It's rough.
Yeah.
The chairman thanks you for your data though. There, Jonesy. Chairman G.
I'm sure.
He thanks you for
Everyone's getting data. I don't give a fuck.
I'm a member of the Communist Party anyway. He already has my data.
There you go.
Anyway, other than that, cut the check, shut it down. Hasta lasagna.
We
will catch you on the next one on TikTok.
Mission
accomplished. Hasta lasagna.